First of all, just try to understand the life history of the author Zulfikar Ghosh. He was born on 13th March 1935 in Sialkot, Punjab, British India. Initial education was done in Pakistan and Bombay, now it is known as Mumbai, and then his graduation was completed from Keele University in 1959 in England. In 1969, he moved to United States to teach at the University of Texas. He became a US citizen in 2004. By profession, Zulfikar Ghosh is a novelist, an essayist, and a poet. His famous works include The Contradictions, The Murder of Aziz Khan, The Incredible Brazilian, The Native, The Beautiful Empire, A Different World. Poems: The Loss of India, Jets from Orange, The Violent West, A Memory of Asia, Selected Poems, Geography Lesson, and Decomposition. These are some of his famous works. His works are primarily based on magical realism. What is magical realism, children? It is a style of fiction and literary genre that paints a realistic view of the modern world while also adding magical elements in it. Now see the introduction of the poem. The poem is written from the perspective of a person who is observing the city from above, seeing it seated in a jet plane. As he ascends the heights in the sky, he is able to understand the real meaning of geography. The poem is divided into 3 parts according to the altitude at which the plane flies. Here, the poet tries to unearth the symbolic meaning behind the physical features of the planet. Now, children, first have a look on the title of the poem. Do you think Geography Lesson is an appropriate title for this poem? Yes, in this poem, because the poet learns a lesson from the geography. Here, the poet shares his experience of a flight in a jet plane. During his flight, he learns a lesson from the geography of Earth. Staying on the ground in the city looked unplanned to the poet. But when he reached in the sky, he understood the reason of that unplanned development on the ground. The city was developed in such manner to provide all the needful things and comforts to the residents of that area. That's why, according to the poet, Geography Lesson is an appropriate title for the poetry written by him. Now, children, see the central theme of the poem. In the poem, poet has made the illogical and the unreasonable hatred and complaints of the people for each other as a central theme. He is unable to understand why people discriminate and judge other people on the basis of regional and territorial boundaries, while the geography and nature does not create any such differences. So this is the central theme of this poem. Now, children, let's have a look on the line-by-line explanation of the poem. When the jet sprang into the sky, it was clear why the city had developed the way it had. Seeing it scaled 6 inches to the mile, there seemed an inevitability about what on ground had looked haphazard and planned and without style when the jet sprang into the sky. Now, children, pay attention on the red inked words. These words are some difficult words for you in this poem. I have given the meanings in the side of the line. So, first of all, we will have the discussion on these words and their meanings. The first word is sprang. Sprang means arose. It is the second form of spring. Means jump. Here jump means arose, went up in the sky. Second word is scaled. Scaled means turned. The third word is inevitability. It means necessity or requirement of something. Next is haphazard. This word means unplanned or unsystematic, or you can say without order. So children, in this first stanza, the poet tells us that when the jet arose high up in the air, or you can say in the sky, I could easily view the whole city as the 1 mile area around the city had turned into 6 inches on the scale. This made me understand why the city was developed in the way it had. I could not understand this when I was on the land, on the earth. When I looked from the height, I could understand the necessity of that unplanned or unsystematic construction of the city. Though it was without any proper style, but quite suitable for the comfortable stay, and it was in accordance with the needs of the man. This all I could view when my jet went into the sky. Now children, see the second stanza. When the jet reached 10,000 feet, it was clear why the country had cities where the rivers ran and why the valleys were populated. The logic of geography, that land and water attracted man, was clearly delineated when the jet reached 10,000 feet. Children, here see the meaning of this word delineated. It means shown or described, expressed. So now see the explanation of this stanza. Here the poet tells us that now his jet reaches 10,000 feet above the ground. Here the poet's view becomes broader. He is able to see the earth with the more clear view. Now he is able to see the whole country. This broader view made it clear to him why the cities of the country were located near the river banks and why the valleys were populated. Seeing these rivers and valleys densely populated, he could understand the logic of geography. What was the logic? That the plain areas and the water bodies such as the rivers and the canals attract the human beings. When the jet reached 10,000 feet, this logic of geography was clearly described to the poet, to the writer, Zulfikar Ghosh. Now children, see the third stanza. When the jet rose 6 miles high, it was clear the earth was round and that it had more sea than land. But it was difficult to understand that the man on the earth found causes to hate each other, to build walls across cities, and to kill from that height. It was not clear why. So, children, in this third stanza, poet describes the scene from the distance of 6 miles. From this height, it was clearly visible that the earth was round in shape. From there, he could also view that there was more water than land on the earth. But children, just see here, he is unable to understand one thing. What is that thing? He could not understand from that height of the sky that why the people on the earth have unfriendly feelings and the complaints for each other. Why do people create problems for each other? Why do they build walls across cities? Why do they conspire to kill their fellow beings? These are some of the questions that he could not get any answers of from that height of the sky, that remain still unsolved in his mind, in his brain. So children, this is the explanation of the poem. Through this poem, the writer has tried to convey a message to us. What is that message? The message is that we people, in place of hating each other, in place of creating problems and troubles for each other on the basis of region, on the basis of countries, on the basis of territories, what should we do? We should plan to live with harmony. We should live in peace. We should stop conspiring and we should stop killing each other, because this lesson tells us that the nature does not discriminate on the basis of the region, on the basis of the territorial areas. So we should learn a lesson from this poem, that we should all live in peace and harmony. Okay children, I hope you have understood the poem. Very soon we will meet again. Till then, take care of yourself. Thank you.